everyone. You are watching the 2019-2020 Asian Le Mans Series finale with me, Nadia Nash. And thank you so much for joining us. It is going to be a ride because, as you know, surprises and drama are no stranger to the final round, the deciding round for the championship. And of course, qualifying sessions was yesterday. Rio Haryanto from T2 Motorsport finished fastest for GT cars. In LMP3 was Colin Noble that put Nielsen Racing at the front for LMP3, and Ben Bunnycoat's flying lap puts Thunderhead Carlin Racing at the front of the pack, at the front of the grid today. And 3 of those 4 invitations to 24-hour of Le Mans are still in contention, and those passes are exclusive and a fantastic opportunity for teams and drivers from the Asian region to experience the iconic race, the 24-hour of Le Mans. Now it's a 23-car grid today, and we will see a mix of LMP2, LMP3 and GT cars battling it out for 4 hours. So you are definitely in for a roller coaster ride, all battling for championship. So all you have to do now is sit back, hold tight, and enjoy the season finale of the Asian Le Mans Series.
Welcome, wherever you are watching around the world, to the commentary box at the 4 hours of Buriram, the closing event, the grand finale of the Asian Le Mans Series 2019-2020 season. My name is Juven Selvanathan. Sitting next to me, as always, in the commentary box is Graham Goodwin. Graham, we've been waiting for this day, and I think so far all the pre-events leading up to this day have really delivered. Something special will be happening today in 3 of the 4 classes of the Asian Le Mans Series.
Absolutely. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world joining us. I know it's very early and very late, some of those places. 13 of the 23 cars that will start today's 4-hour race around the Buriram circuit here have got a chance of winning. 1 of the 3 class championships still up for grabs, and of course 3 invitations, automatic invitations for the 2020 Le Mans 24 Hours. Points gaps are pretty tiny in certain instances, and a little bit of luck, a little bit of on-track drama, and we're bound to have plenty of that, is going to make the difference here this afternoon. It's going to be 4 hours of high drama.
Matthew Bernadelle is here with us, head of motorsports business at Michelin, so the perfect guy to be talking to. And of course, you can feel the buzz already. It is the finale. It's 4 hours of Buriram. What are you looking forward to?
Well, it's really going to be a great race. I can see that the championship and the Asian Le Mans Series is growing year after year. We can feel not only we see more cars on the grid, but we see teams coming from everywhere in the world, and as well teams are more professional. And just the fact that we have 3 cars ready to fight for the championship at the last race is going to be great excitement for all the fans.
This is the track at Buriram. 12 turns in 3 sectors of just over 1 kilometer each, totaling 4.554 kilometers. It's a very flat track, but also very fast. A long straight after the start, then challenging turns from 4 to 10 between sector 2 and 3, before a sharp right-hander at 12 to complete the lap.
An extraordinary day at Sepang, with major storm damage delaying the start of the 4 hours of Sepang by almost 2 hours. In the early stages, the Aston Martin from D Station Racing would lead the GT race. It was closed down and eventually passed by Liam Talbot in the Hub Auto Corsa Ferrari. That car would lead for much of the race, only to lose to a penalty in the final minutes to the J-Lock Lamborghini Huracan. Team Malaysia, in the form of Viper Nisa Racing, led well in the first 2 hours, but it was heartbreak for the Malaysian team with a failure that cost them dear. They would finish the last of the LMP3 runners. Into the lead went the number 3 car from Nielsen Racing. They led well until an attack from the number 9 Graf Racing car would win the race for the very French team. LMP2AM would see a late problem for the 25 car rob them of a race win. That would go the way of the class champions now, the 52 Rickware Racing team. Fourth place overall, the 96 K2 Ichino Orica. Third, despite this moment, an assault from a P3 car would go to G-Drive by Algarve Pro. Second overall would be the car that came home the winner on the road. Rear lights are on at the moment. This shot was taken for the Eurasia Ligier, but by the time it crossed the line, as you can see by this shot, the lights were out and the team had ignored the race director's instruction. That meant the three drivers deserved celebrations for them, but that was premature. That would mean that the win would go to the 45 Thunderhead by Carling Racing Delara after a fine run from all three drivers.
Thunderhead Carlin snatched the pole in LMP2 at Buriram after a blistering qualifying performance, just ahead of the two Eurasia P2s and K2 Uchino Racing. In LMP3, it's a Nielsen front row with the number 2 ahead of the number 3. The number 52 Rick Ware racing car has the LMP2 AM pole, while in GT it's a first ever pole for T2 Motorsports ahead of Hub Auto and Spirit of Race.
Here we are at Buriram, 4 hours last race of the season. I am Roberto Meri and I'm gonna explain you a lap to this track. Now here we got the last corner 12. We try to get a good exit to start a clean lap in front of us, going up to 5th gear before the braking on this corner about 70 meters, downshift 2 gears to 30, using as much curve in the inside and as much as the car allow you in the outside. Here targeting to braking around 190 meters, quite late braking here. Also trying to don't kill the speed too much because it's a very light apex, as you can see. Going up now the gears again up to 6, long straight again. Now we're gonna head up to fast left-hander, probably flat. I did just flat in this session, flat using a bit of inside curve, having a good exit, braking 100 meters before the corner, trying to hit the apex a little bit and early on power because we have quite a long exit. Fast left-hander, going from 3rd, 4th. Here we have shift to 5 just before braking on the white line, going down to 3rd, using as much inside curve and outside curve as we can. Braking now again by feeling, really late apex and trying to go very early on throttle. As you can see, the exit is very tricky, green exit here. Going up to 5th gear again and going down again to 1st gear. Very bumpy the braking, around the corner, hitting a bit the inside curve and trying to hit as much curve in the outside possible to finish the lap.
A great lap there by Roberto Meri in the hot lap that we just watched. But of course, the man who also knows the lap very well, who finished first in LMP2, of course, sitting at the front right now, is Ben Barnicoat, Thunderhead Carlin Racing. How are you feeling? How are things looking for today?
Yeah, well, we've had a very good car all weekend, thanks to Carlin Racing. So, you know, we're feeling confident. Jack's going to start the car. He's done a great job of starting all season long, so we'll let him do what he does best and hopefully get into turn 1 in first and finish the lap there. That's what we're hoping for. Then he'll hand over to Harry and I'll be in at the end. So we're looking forward to it. All feeling confident. Obviously, all we can do is focus on winning the race, and we need a little bit of luck behind us in order for us to win the title. But all we can do is our best.
Fantastic. Of course, you're confident, but I'm just curious. It is a lot on the line today. So do you feel any kind of sort of extra pressure from the other rounds?
Look, I mean, if we're in G-Drive's position and you're leading the championship and it's yours to lose, there's pressure there. But I mean, we're in the position where we're the underdogs. We've got to come and take it all to win. So our main focus is purely on winning the race, and that's what we know we need to do to win the title. That's our focus, and whatever happens, happens. So we're just looking at it as a normal race, which is the best way to be in this situation.
Well, the 6 GT cars, all in the championship hunt, they streamed out for what we expected to be a really tight battle. Car Guy, though, stumbled at the start with a couple of track limits issues. The 51 car in the hands of new Ferrari factory driver Daniel Serra pushed hard, was in the mix, but ultimately had no answer to the pace of Tim Slade in the number 27 Hub Auto Corsa Ferrari. The Aussie Supercars star put it right in the mix, but the story of the day for many will be the emergence for a pole position, a first pole position in the Asian Le Mans Series from an Indonesian team, Rio Haryanto in the number 75 T2 Motorsports car. They were rightly delighted with that. Are they an emerging force? LMP3, 8 cars, 4 in the hunt, 2 very much in the hunt, but it was Norma's day today. 4 of the 8 Norma Chassis, the other 4 the Ligiers, and it was the Normas that really had the pace. The number 8 car in the mix to start with, David Drew, looked like he might have an answer to the pole position conundrum, but ultimately slid back into 3rd. That was because coming up into 2nd position on the front row, Garrett Grist, the Canadian flag driver in the number 3 car for Nielsen Racing. That would be, well, the cherry on top of a great day for Nielsen Racing. 1-2 in the order, and that was thanks to a dominant performance ultimately from an emerging force in sports car racing. Young Scot Colin Noble absolutely bossed it for Nielsen Racing. It'll be a 1-2 for Norma, it'll be a 1-2 for Nielsen Racing tomorrow, 4 hours at Buriram in LMP3. Then we got into the dogfight we expected for LMP2, and with the LMP2 cars out there, it turned out to be 2 top dogs scrapping it out. The first of them, Kiwi Nick Cassidy, as Guy Cosmo put the 25 car for Rick Ware Racing on top in LMP2 AM. That was settled early on. All eyes then were on what's going to happen for the overall pole position. Matthias Besch tried to have a bit of say in that in the NT Europol car. That wasn't going to quite work out. Cassidy just edged away a little in the number 1 car in the Kiwi colours. But Ben Barnicoat was soon in the mix. And Barnicoat had his tail up. If there was going to be a dogfight, he was going to be the one with the sharpest teeth. The Dallara, the 45 car for Thunderhead and Carlin, would set the pole position in excellent fashion. That sets up a fantastic battle for the overall championship tomorrow. Don't miss it, because it's going to be a blinder. That's a happy, happy man and a happy team. Now, and away we go for the final round of the 2019-2020 Asian Le Mans Series. Jack Manchester moves to defend his line through turn 1, manages it there through already. In 2nd place, though, is Roberta Merry. Behind, Tony Wells already alongside one of the Rick Ware Racing cars, with Dallara getting away, but Merry going with him. Through to 3rd has come the K2 Achino Orica. 4th, the championship leading 26:01.
But Eurasia, remember, have to stay in this fight. Roberta Merry is going to be looking at the back of that Dallara and thinking, I've got to find a way to keep up with him.
1, 2, 3 is Dallara, Ligier, Orica. This is the way that LMP2 racing should be. Doesn't always work out that way, but it has done through the season here as they come through to complete the first racing lap, and the gap that Jack Manchester's got is 1.3 seconds. He'll be heartily cheered by his teammates there.
Right now, Jack Manchester is flying, I can tell you that.
Away. He's pulling away. 2.3 seconds last time, 2.8 seconds this time. And that's mainly because the number 96 and 36 are battling away for that 2nd position. Roberto Merry needs to get ahead here and needs to get ahead of the Dallara. He's been put into this car for the start of the race because he is the experienced pro, and he needs to be showing that that investment, that trust in his ability is paid back by leading this race. Here's LMP3. Change there, Alessandro Brisson has gone through, so it is a Ligier leading the way for the first time. The number 12 car aboard the 77 Aston Martin, that but for a gearbox fault at the end of the race, and it looks to me like Fuji-san is looking to see what he can do by going through. The Aston Martin would have been in a far stronger position in the championship. Still mathematically possible for D-Station Racing to take the title. They have in any case applied for an invitation for the Le Mans 24 Hours, but at the moment trailing by some distance. Alessandro Brissan with a 2nd, run 2 and away from the front of this field in his number 12 Ace 1 Valour Corsa car. He's now 3 seconds to the good in this battle, with Dominic Ang still there in 2nd place. So from Nielsen 1-2 and a Graf 3-4 and normal 1-2-3-4, it is now a Ligier 1-2 at the start of this race.
That's an interesting turnaround. Of course, this very much mirrors the situation we saw in Shanghai when Alessandro Brissan literally dominated the first half of that race. And of course, Dominic Ang and Viper Nisa Racing, well, all praise to Douglas Koo and his team. They really set the stage alight in Malaysia, their home soil, of course.
So Sean Tong, make no mistake, is pushing really hard here, but Manchester is actually soaking up that pressure for the moment. Is that going to mean that Roberto Merry gets an opportunity to get a bit more onto terms? Well, yes, but he's also been caught by James French and by Daniel Frost. It's really close race here between these top 5 cars. 4.4 seconds after coming on for half an hour of racing. So very evenly matched indeed. Remember, some very, very quick drivers still to come. Dominic Ang is closing in here for the lead.
Yeah.
Here's Daniel Serra leading the race, as you would expect a Ferrari factory driver to be able to do, but he's not dropping the continuing attentions of Liam Talbot. Liam about 4.5 seconds back in amongst that gaggle of LMP cars. You can see the white Ferrari there in the background. It looks to me as if Jack Manchester is pulling away again. He is. He's 1.5 seconds ahead here. This is a cracking run from Jack Manchester, given the opportunity to have a sniff of a title, and this young man has just gone for it.
That's what you want. You want a good, fast first stint. Very fast drivers, of course, at Thunderhead. Carlin are still waiting to follow. We had a glimpse of them in the pits earlier.
Got another bit of trouble there with some traffic, though, Jack Manchester. I think that one lost him a couple of tenths again. Sean Tong will be keeping an eye on the confidence levels of the man ahead. Clears the Ferrari now. Then Sean Tong does the same.
This is what it's all been about. This GT class has really wowed the fans for the last 3 races. Not only has it come down to this last round, but look how close they are on track.
Absolutely, and as well as viewers and listeners from across Asia, great to see that we've got viewers from Canada, from the United States, from Mexico joining us on the streams. I know from Twitter, spotting a few familiar names from the UK as well. Very early morning there. Hope there's a very large mug of coffee. And all of a sudden, Tomonobu Fuji looking to the inside. Liam Talbot defends, goes to the outside. He needs to get past this Ferrari. He's got looking to the inside now. Talbot goes wide. I think that's going to give the Aston Martin and maybe the Lamborghini an opportunity to get through here in a battle for second position. Talbot sticking out for the moment, but he can't hang on. Ran wide and off the circuit, loses 2 positions out of turn 1. And all of a sudden, Fuji-san is now under pressure from the Lamborghini. Is there room there up the inside? There isn't. But as he forced the Aston Martin wide to get the position on the exit, no, because he clips the curb. That leaves the back of the Lamborghini a little squirrely, and the Aston Martin number 77 goes through into second position in class.
That was a little shaky.
This is the number 8 car.
That was a little shaky again.
Jack Manchester is struggling to get by, and is this going to give Sean Tong a way through? Again, the 8 cars all over the road, left and right. That gives Sean Tong an opportunity to get up the inside. Not room to do that. Jack Manchester dealt with that pretty maturely, had to go off the track to go by, but I think that was because he was going left, he was going right, and the 8 car was really struggling to find the right way to go.
G drives in there as well.
The 45 car, it's a driver change there. That looks like Ben Barnicoat, I believe, stepping aboard the car. Or is that? That might have been Harry Tinknell actually stepping aboard the car. So great first stint from Jack Manchester. I'm sure we'll be elated by that. But it's now a matter of the Carlin Racing guys, Thunderhead Carlin team, turning this car around quickly. Fuel is going in. Tyres are ready, at least one side of the car. Cleaning the screen, changing the driver's drink bottle there.
Now in the
Fuel
long
off.
term, this
Wheel
is going to
guns
work
go
out
on. It's how quickly can they get this thing moving, and it is new, just lightly scrubbed tyres for Harry Tinknell. Left-hand tyres only for the number 45 Dallara. Still the fuel going in. Stuart Cox, the tall figure there, helped Nadia not to get run over on the grid a little earlier. And Stuart making sure that the crew are well drilled. Hugely experienced team manager here.
Yeah, of course,
Wheel
previous
guns on.
champions with Algarve as well. They know what to do to win. And they've already had 2 wins.
Also on the pit lane, 26 on the way out, 36 on the way out. There goes Harry Tinknell ahead of the 26 car and well ahead of the 26 and the 36 cars. So 1 minute 20 for the G-Drive car on pit lane. Lost 3 seconds there. K2, 1 minute 38. They lost some 17 seconds to the number 45 car. This, when it all pans out, will leave Harry Tinknell with a pretty mighty lead.
That's exactly what he would have been looking for.
Yes, I am with the man, Jack Manchester. So we saw your stint out there. It was a tight race between you and the other 2 cars. How was it for you? We saw it was fun for us. How was it for you?
Yeah, no, it was I mean, fun is one way of describing it. I mean, yeah, it was really kind of full on for the whole stint. Just managing traffic, tyres, fuel, when to push, when not to push. You know, it was really full on and, you know, quite physical.
45 minutes in now. It is 9.5 seconds, as I say, the lead from the 45 Thunderhead Carlin Dallara, from the 26 G-Drive Racing Balgarve Arus. Then Roberto Merri is back into third as a result of that longer pit stop for Sean Tong. And they're lapping at broadly the same kind of speed, but Sean Tong dropped something like 20 seconds in that pit stop. Well, it's 28 degrees for the start of the final round of the Asian Le Mans Series. Jack Manchester got to a great start, defended well into turn one. Manchester, though, got his head down and allowed Roberto Merri to soak up the pressure from behind. It was Serra pulling away in the 51. He would bring it to the first pit stops in control of the race in GT, and some 10 or 11 seconds clear. Alessandro Bressan pulled away in LMP3, but was reeled in towards the end of the first stint by Dominic Ang. Again, great form from the Malaysian driver in the 65 Viper Nisa Racing. Clutch issue for the number 18, saw that car in the garage. 25 car leading LMP2 AM, but it was Jack Manchester and then Harry Tinknell who would actually lead into the first round of pit stops. This was still the end of Jack Manchester's super professional, it has to be said, first stint here. Sean Tong then left to actually soak up pressure from Roberto Merri. There was no way through for the Orica, there was no way through for the Ligier, there was no way through for the Arus. Thunderhead Carlin Racing looking to do what they can to bring this one home, even in traffic, whilst at times sometimes the traffic didn't help terribly much. This was Jack Manchester going to go off track for a rather wayward number 8 craft car. Still no way by for Sean Tong as he came round to try again to take the lead from Manchester. Harry Tinknell it was that climbed aboard. It was a rapid turnaround in the pits for the Carlin team. They drew even further advantage from the 26, from the 36, and in particular from the 96. It is the 45 Carlin Thunderhead Dallara that leads the 4 hours of Buriram.
There have been some changes, Graham, while you were just updating everyone about what happened in the first hour in LMP3 as the Viper Nisa 65 came in for its pit stop. Ace 1 Villorba, of course, has already been in for a pit stop, and that's led to a change. In fact, now there's a lot of LMP3s coming in, most probably for fuel. Nielsen's in there as well.
Now remember on this front to keep an eye on the pit stop times here. 2 time stops are required. Longer stops are required for the GTs and for the LMP3 cars, and that will affect the running order at the moment. So it's a matter of who has taken the long stops. We've got here, that's I think is the number 2 car. That is the...
Both Nielsen's in right now.
It's the 3 car. It's the 3 car that's on pit lane. The 2 car is just on its outlap with Colin Noble. He'll be keen to make up some of the ground lost.
Alessandro Bressan here with me, who drove the car in and passed it to Las Carretas in a really good place. You guys were leading in P3, of course. Tell us about your stint.
Well, you know, it's never easy when the team tells you this. So here's the deal. You start 6th, you need to go first, no matter what. You need to pass them. So it's a little bit of a tough job. I'm glad that I was able to do it once more. So yeah, and then it was just qualifying mode from the beginning. You know, just go, push, pull the gap as much as possible and try to give us the lead. So we tried to work with that.
77 car in the pits with Satoshi Hoshino, and it is stationary.
We did say we'd update you on the championship permutations. That might be game over for D-Station Racing in terms of the championship. That doesn't look like a healthy situation at all for Satoshi Hoshino.
Well, it's good news at the moment for 51 crew. GT3 cars here, of course, although this car, the Ferrari and for that matter the Aston Martin, both convertible to GT3 specification. But one of the major differences with these cars is these cars do have anti-lock brakes systems. A GT car doesn't.
Very interesting indeed. Now 53 laps completed for Harry Tinknell.
Massive gap, by the way,
Yep,
for
gap.
the number 12 car. 52 seconds right now in the lead in LMP3.
Viper Nisa back out on track. So far, so good for the Malaysian team.
How about, what is the focus right now? I know you guys are still in contention for championship. There's still a chance for that. Or is it about just winning 4 hours of Buriram? Which is it?
Yeah, if we win the race, we win the champion. They win the championship. I'm doing just this race, so they win the championship. So I think this is the target: is to push and try to win the race and the championship.
Three
Now-
wide again coming into turn 3. This is the J-Lock car.
Oh, that's a huge piece of congestion on turn 3.
Just make sure these guys don't get too overexcited. That, I think, is the 13 car as well in the middle of that lot. On pit lane for the number 1 car, that is Daniel Gaunt bringing that car in from 6th position.
That there is Jack Manchester getting into looks like 7, 8, 9.
It's been a race of some hard racing, no major dramas. It's more your kind of end of an episode in a soap opera rather than the Christmas special sort of dramas.
Indeed.
This
That
could be the
number
championship
13,
right
yeah,
here.
Europol.
So unless that's a timing glitch, Martin Hipper has not come through.
He's not in the
complete
pits.
that lap.
He's somewhere out on the track.
He's
There he is.
It's stopped.
There he is.
The 13 car has stopped. And is that the end of the championship run for Inter-Europol competition?
Well-
Martin Hipper. Is that the moment?
He's not the kind of driver to go that slow or let alone stop.
He's
It's one of his
just taken
sister
a
cars.
position from Douglas Koo. The last lap around has stopped on the run down to the final turn, has not made it back to the pits. Car 13 stopped off track at turn 11. We've seen it. That
And
means
it's still not moving. It's now dropping down
massive
the order.
dramas for Inter-Europol competition. Colin Noble, meanwhile, is up to 4th.
And this really opens the door for Nielsen, Graf, and Ace One. Yeah,
Guys,
that's true.
and
That's
girls
true.
there, by the way, and they'll be able to full course yellow.
Well,
so
that's-
full course
yeah.
yellow it is. Oh, there's a spin there for the 52 car as we go to full course yellow. That, I think, is still Cody Ware aboard that car. Differences coming in strategy here, not by any means correct for the fuel strategies for some of these cars. There's the 2 and the 3. That is Colin Noble's car ahead of the car that was brought into the pits just ahead in 3rd position by Charles Cruz, behind the barrier for the 13 car, and I think that's done. But as we get back up to, we'll give you the time gaps at the end of this first flying lap under green. But little doubt that it's a good gap for Thunderhead Carlin Racing. But LMP3, Andreas Lascaratos has got a big gap for the Ace One Valorba Corsa team. They've done well with troubles, 1 or 2 other cars.
From the halfway mark.
Oh,
That
13's
is
back in the pits, but it's going to the garage, but they've got the car back to the pits. So
Is it a case of just too far gone?
you've got to say
3 laps
probably
down,
it depends
yeah.
on what the problem with the car is, and we'll likely find that out. But
looks like
either
it's
way,
going back for more.
it's gearbox. It's gearbox. I'm hearing 25 car of Philip Mulacek in LMP2AM sits in amongst the LMP3s at the moment. Phil Mulacek, the gearbox.
Wow, this is fantastic shots from right in the pit lane. This is the problem, and this is how you address a problem at a critical time. In fact, that's actually Nigel Moore
It
helping
is
them.
Nigel Moore.
And
Nigel is a-
we knew, yeah, Nigel Moore's a great...
He's a great
he's
mechanic, so
technical,
Nigel
great
getting
mechanic.
hands-on with this. What a story that would be if they got the car back out. And in traffic.
Yeah, that's in a single class championship, I was about to say. When you have different cars that take different lines, GTs are set up completely differently from the P2s, and you've got 4 or 5 of them coming into a chicane, that's when things get tight.
Look how quickly this P2 car will close down the 51 car, and that's the other thing here for a GT racer, and in particular, an unprofessional GT racer. You're not just looking at your lines, able to choose that line through these turns. Look at that, he's keeping 2 in the left-hand side, and getting out of the way of the 36 car. Aidan Reid aboard that car.
Well, Leonard Hogenboom is making sure that his presence is not going to be forgotten.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're watching this and thinking my road car could do that, it couldn't.
It could. It absolutely could.
Flashing of the lights. Another pressure tactic. I think that was... Oh, no, there's a spin there for the 9 car. It's going to be the barrier. Oh, no. Disaster for the number 9 car. Disaster for Sebastian Paget. Did what he could to get out of the way of the leading pair of LMP2 cars. Ran wide as a result. Go on to the dirty stuff. Tried to turn in for the second element there. There was no grip available. And from there on in, it was a rapid trip into the barrier. Disaster for Graf. I think he was trying to do the right thing. So we go to full course yellow as we hit the halfway mark. Just 2 hours left of this race. Just 2 hours left of this season of the Asian Le Mans Series. And again, dramas. It was an hour that ended with dramas, but Daniel Serret was taking the car, the 51 car, in the lead of GT to the pits. Well, there are dramas behind for another championship contender. The 77 Aston Martin looks out of it. The 27 Hubotto Corsa car still in the hunt. This was the changeover to Francesco Pianvanetti with a mighty lead from the Ferrari factory driver. Vipanisa Racing ran a strong second in LMP3, but increasingly strong towards the end of the hour as the 12 car of Ace 1 Villorba Corsa. They've got a lap lead as we come into the second half of this race. The Italian team, though, would have been buoyed by the misfortune of the 13 car championship leaders stationary and with gearbox trouble, as through goes the 8 into second place. Second is the 26 car, and Leonard Hergenboom has been chasing hard. The Thunderhead Carling car leading into the second half of the race, but opting not to pit as we came into this full course yellow, first time of asking.
That is the leader in LMP3, Andreas Lascaratos, continuing the good work of Alessandro Brissan in that first stint. And so far, so good for Ace 1 Villorba Corsa. Don't forget, Ace 1 Villorba Corsa have had an up and down season for one, but coming into this last final round, the 4 hours of Buriram, they were the outside chance to possibly take the LMP3 title. And right now they're doing everything right.
There comes the lead car.
This is it. This is a big
critical pit stop, but they are going to lose the lead here. It's a full green pit stop. Remember, Leonard Hergenboom, as came in, will take the lead, I'm sure. New tyres, though,
the timing of this pit stop is going to be really important. Right now they're at 38 seconds. 40, they need it to be roughly a minute if they can. Of course, that'll be really fast for them. They've been averaging 1.5 minutes. Now the tyres are coming on.
This is new sticker tyres on the left-hand side of the car. Is it just 2 tyres? It is.
It is, and they are out and
in reach of third place here, depending on how long it takes Kaiser to get out of the pit lane. Francesco Pianvanetti, by the way, is in the pits now for his stop to hand over the car to Likelios Negri, and he's retained the lead in that stint. That's excellent stuff from the Puerto Rican gentleman driver. He'll be rightly delighted with that. The team will be, I'm sure, congratulating him on a job well done. Driver change has already happened as we go to that car on pit lane.
Both in hour 2, one for that number 13 into Europol, Martin Hipper, stopping at the side of the track, and of course that number 9 Graf car that spun off and hit the barriers.
Well, there's been horrifically bad news for into Europol for the 13 car. Better news, albeit not show-stopping news, the 18 car is back out on track after that clutch issue. They were in the pits for 1 hour and 51 minutes of our 2 hours and 20 minutes so far. There goes the pass. That is the 27 car.
91 laps now completed by our leader. 1 hour, 39 minutes left to go. That there is, we haven't said much about the LMP2 AM class, mainly because it's already been decided. But after some scares, one of those cars was, well, the 2 Rick Ware cars, one was in the pits. It was that one, and then of course there was the spin after one of the cars was surprised by the full course yellow.
In the pound seats for the championship winning GT, Hubotto Corsa in the hands of Marcos Gomez. But the overall point standings, that's down to the lead in this race. 3 cars are in it in the championship, and they are sitting in 1st, 3rd and 4th overall in this race.
Of course, at the P2. And now let's hear from Inter Europol about what happened with the LMP3 car. They're talking to Nadia.
Now, this is a great car. It's been on pole for, 30 times since 2000. It's in contention to win the championship, but a turn of events, something happened. Tell us what's the update.
Well, first of all, with about 5 laps before we stopped, we lost first gear and then started getting more and more noise from the gearbox. And in the end, it failed. We tried to replace it, but unfortunately, as we didn't cross the white line under our own power, we're now in Parc Ferme and we weren't allowed to continue.
Here's our leader, Leonard Hergenboom, did a great job, and is about to put a lap on the other car in title contention. This is a key moment. This is Aidan Reid about to go a lap down to the So the championship leading
Looks
car.
like he doesn't want to.
I'd have thought not.
I'd have thought not.
The 36 car, our third place position overall car in the championship, fourth on the road here. And is he about to go a lap down? That, by the way, behind as he this time lets the 26 go by. One car is the sister car way back down the order in the hands of Daniel Gaunt. What has that done to the overall order? Well, we'll see when James Winslow comes through. That was another lap in the 128s from Hergenboom. Well over an hour and 23 minutes as I look at the timing screen.
Yes, it has, exactly that.
Two
Almost half the race.
confirmed retirements. That is the 9 Graf racing car after that accident, the 13 into Europol Ligier, as we heard from Mike Rowe.
Mikkel Jensen still on board. This car guy, Ferrari. This, technically, for now, for the next hour and 23 minutes, still the reigning defending champions in GT after a flawless season last year. A little more troubles this year.
Through comes the Viper Nisa car, that car in third position, 35 seconds back from Matthias Kaiser, holding that gap but being caught now, both of those cars, in fact all three of the cars, albeit with a mighty lead for the Ace1 Valois Corsa car by Colin Noble. Pit stop for the 26, and that is Roman Rusinov about to climb aboard for the first time. The Aurus brand proudly on his helmet. This is Aurus homologated, Orica-built chassis, run by the Algarve Pro Racing Team, familiar to Asian Le Mans Series and European Le Mans Series, and for that matter, Le Mans 24-hour viewers and listeners.
Of course, this is going to be a great boost for them leading and them leading the championship for all the Russian viewers. This
Absolutely.
broadcast for the first time this year, actually going out to Russia with Russian commentators.
Indeed it is, and you're very, very, very welcome indeed to the party. And Aurus, if you're not sure what that is and you're listening and watching for the first time, Russian brand of luxury limousine builders, amongst other things, build the state limousine for the presidents of the Russian Federation. 36 clean as a whistle.
Yep.
So it's a minute gap. Off, and that's off one of the Inter-Europol cars. That, I think, is the 18 car spinning through turn 1.
Wow,
manages to recover it. We saw the end of that incident. It's the number 34. Here is the leader. So this is the 45. Then it's the number 8 car, second in the LMP2. In fact, leads the LMP2 standings at the moment. But I suspect owes us a pit stop here. And is that the 3 car? It is the 3 car behind. And comes the 45 from the lead. Now, this is a key stop.
Sure.
Ben Bonica is going to climb aboard the car for the first time. Out steps Harry Tinknell. His day will be done. It will be a double stint to the finish for Ben Barnicoat. This, by the way, is the battle for second position. Ben Barnicoat looking to get by Kuba Shimoski. Comes through. He's got the better line here through turn 1. There is the leader. 125.6 for Roman Rusinov, 125.8 for Kuba Shimoski, 125.2 for Ben Barnicoat. 26 seconds is the gap first to third.
And that's the amount they're going to have to cut down?
It's here. That is the leader going through the shot now. He's going to have traffic here. So 26 seconds is the gap to watch here, with just over an hour remaining and a pit stop apiece for each of these cars to come. Choice of whether or not they take tyres, how many tyres, what tyres they've got left, what state those tyres are in, is going to be critical here for these teams.
We are at G-Drive here. Hergenboom just passed the car to Roman Rusinov in a great position. Great stint out there. But we want to know, was there some kind of strategy change when you got in the car? Because you pushed the car to the top.
Yeah, for sure, you have always a good strategy. But James did a good start. He did a good effort also. And then after his first stint, after the second stint, I jumped in the car. I think we did good teamwork together. And after I did a little bit more than 2 stints, I think. Was good. And now it's Roman in the car. Our strategy was good, the car was good, the team did a good job. So now Roman need to finish the race, and then I think he can do still a good job.
Hour 3 here at Buriram has been another one of real drama. The car guy team in the hands of Mikkel Jensen has mounted a massive comeback. 51 after a great run from Francesco Piavanetti. Negri has been left to defend the lead. He's now lost, dropping back down to third. T2 Motorsports enjoying their day despite the challenges. The lead, though, went to the Hub Auto Corsa car. Marcos Gomez leads the race coming into the final hour, but the 27 car may be in trouble with the race stewards. In LMP3, the number 3 car from Nielsen Racing looked very strong indeed, with the 12 and the number 8 car in contention for the race win. Ace 1 for Corsa on a completely different pit stop strategy to the number 8 car that has served a 50-second stop and hold penalty during this hour. LMP2 AM, 25 car, still leads the race. Guy Cosmo aboard the car, whilst in LMP2 and for the overall, rapid fire stuff from Thunderhead Carlin and the Dallara. They've been swapping places around the pit stops with the 34 car, Matthias Besch and then Kuba Shimoski. With this car, Roman Rusinov now aboard the 26 G-Drive Aurus by Elgar Pro, all to play for into the final hour of this season of the Asian Le Mans Series. It's the 36 car. It's a championship contender, has gone straight on. So the 36 car in the gravel and effectively now out of title contention. So yet another car in title contention falls out due to an incident on track. Well, they had to push. It was Nick Foster at the wheel of that car. He'd been putting in stellar times.
He's getting out the car as well.
He's run straight through the gravel. Replay coming here.
There he is.
That is the 36 car coming down from turn 1. This is into turn 2. This is the kink. Behind the Ace 1 Valorba Corsa car, Cordana played a part. He was looking to get up the inside. He was looking up the inside of that car. Maybe just got a bit too deep into the braking, and he did. He outbraked himself. That's exactly what he did. He run straight through. Didn't impact the barrier, or if he did, it was just a brush. There'll be no damage to the car, not a gravel, but that's lost him a heap of time. Potentially kills their championship. There goes Nick Foster. He'll be gutted about that. Nick is a fine driver.
Shaking off some of the debris in the pickup so that he doesn't, well, taking on a bit more there. David Fumanelli now taking over the lead.
Race control for the 27, there is no penalty. Penalty up the inside, goes for it, and he takes the lead. 33 minutes to go. Roman Rusinov not going to give that one up. He's got the inside line, he moves over on him. There was mild contact there. That was a very feisty move from Roman Rusinov.
What were you saying, Graham? Don't take any risks?
Roman Rusinov led across the line there by 9 thousandths of a second. So it was the tight line through from Ben Barnicoat. Barnicoat won't have liked that very much. I think we're going to see some feistiness now here. He tries to cut back this time. This time he's got a much better line through it, but he had to go across the curb and onto the grass, so loses traction there. This time around the outside from Barnicoat. He's going to try and use the Ligier ahead as a pick. Not going to work there. He's putting Rusinov now under extreme pressure. Back down they come towards the start finish line. Up the inside this time. This time there's not quite as much of a launch, but he's got a better line through again. This time it's Barnicoat who has the chance to get up the inside. It looks to me as if the Orica's quicker down that start-finish straight. Has he got any room? No, he hasn't. Not got the straight line speed, not got the grip. Out comes the 51 car. From its latest, Daniel Serra has been sent for the last crack at this.
As we expected, we actually heard that from his interview with Nadia, that fast half hour's coming. Outside line now for Barnicoat.
Barnicoat likes this opportunity for the cutback. Now here's the question. Does he think that's his opportunity, or is the bluff involved here?
Yeah.
Lots of traffic coming now.
Yeah, this could be...
And significant traffic too. And it's the
like
class leader in GT as well ahead. And that held up Rusinov. It's given Barnicoat the opportunity to get right on the tail with further traffic to come. It's T2 Motorsports Ferrari next. Up the inside, and it's going to be the lead there. Is it? No, it's not just either side of him. Fabulous stuff here. Up the inside again, and this time he manages to make the move. This time Barnicoat goes.
Well, he was lapping faster. He was lapping a good second faster. Now they're bang on 126, both of them. But what a move that was from Thunderhead.
But again, Rusinov hasn't given this one up. He'll try and harass the 45 car now into a All he needs to do now is to stay exactly where he is on the rear end of the 45 Carlin car, the Thunderhead-sponsored Dallara. Again, putting him under pressure, and again. Oh, this is great stuff from this pair. Rusinov trying to force the error off the outside of the car guy, Ferrari. This time it's going to work Barnicoat's way. He gets the smoother line through, and he's actually got a gap from that. Going to be tyres ready. It is. They're used tyres, though, for the lightly used tyres, but used tyres nonetheless. There's in come the 36 as well. Ben Barnicoat stays aboard, of course he does. Be less fuel, remember, for this car, so a slightly shorter fuel fill than the 26 car. They came in ahead.
Splash and dash, as you like to say.
And we wait for fuel to go in. Under 23 minutes to go. Watching the background there, that's Stuart Cox and the 26 crew watching this pit stop happen. He wants to know whether or not there's anything that might come into play later on. Watching like a hawk to see if there's anything that they can actually bring to the
From a
party.
safe distance.
That was quick, that was neat. It was 1 minute and 7 seconds, remember, for the G-Drive Racing by Algarve.
52 seconds for Thunderhead Carlin.
No, not yet. They're
Well,
not out.
once they come out, yeah, exactly. In addition, they're still talking. It is going to be about 103, I would have thought.
104.
104, yeah.
26 now clearing the line. It's about the length of the start-finish straight, with the Carlin car on slightly colder tyres on the left-hand side, and with Roman Rusinov fully up to speed.
Yeah.
Neil Muston, by the way, heading for a podium.
That is great for
in
Neil Muston.
the number 8 Graf car. That's been a rotten day for them as well, with their championship contending car crashing out.
That's true. It really has been about the numbers, whether it was a number 2 or number 3 Nielsen, or whether it was a number 8 or number 9 Graf. Both.
Lest we forget, by the way, Sean Tong sits in a podium position, and I think that would be the first podium for the K2 Agino Racing team.
Deserved. Absolutely deserved.
He is being caught at the moment, and they're going to do so with a season that will not win them a championship without last moments of drama, but will bring them home with 2 race wins. And the second of them comes here at the 4 Hours of Buriram. Thunderhead Carlin, the Dallara, with a wiggle off the final curb, take the win, and we'll be delighted with that.
And there is the joy
that's
from
the delight.
Jack Manchester and Harry Tingle.
That's all they can do. Now we wait for the championship winning car, and there it is. They come across the line, and that is the championship goes the way of the G-Drive by Algarve, Aurus 01.
Full results from the 4 Hours of Buriram saw Thunderhead Carlin Racing pick up their second win in LMP2, with G-Drive Racing finishing second and K2 Uchino in third spot. Rickware Racing take another win in LMP2 AM, while in LMP3 it was Ace 1 Villorba Corsa with the win, followed by Nielsen Racing and Graf in third. Hub Auto top in GT ahead of Car Guy and Spirit of Race.
4 more hours of memories to build in the sunshine at Buriram in Thailand, and as the lights went green, Jack Manchester aboard the 45 Dallara was left to defend from a snapping pack of P2s behind. He did that well, and whilst in the GT class, it was a battle between the brands. Aston Martin first out of the running. You can see why damage and cooling couldn't loss, costing us the Vantage effort. 27 car went to the front. Hub Auto Corsa did it early after dealing with the threat from the 51 car. Daniel Serra was in the mix, but the 27 car would take the win and the title. The best way to take a title is by taking the win at the last race of the season. They did just that in the 27 Ferrari. Trouble for the number 18 into Europol LMP3 car. The number 8 car would come home with a very strong finish on the podium after 2 penalties. Number 12 car, Ace 1 Villorba Corsa, won it from the front. An excellent showing from the Italian team with the help of Greek driver Andreas Laskaratos. But it was the title, not the win, but the title for the number 2 Nielsen Racing crew in the Norma. J-Lock came into the effort today leading the points. It's the 52 title-winning LMP2 AM car. Had a bit of a spin, but will take the title. Title contender 2 at that point. The number 9 Graf Racing car ended its race in the barrier. 26 car Roman Rusinov, James French and Leonard Hergenboom knew what they needed to do. A win would have sealed it for them, but second would be enough. The other title contending car coming in, I'm afraid, ended its run with a run through the gravel. 25 car would take the LMP2 AM class. 26 would be left to fend off the closer and closer attentions of a car, the 45, that needed to win to take the title, but needed the 26 not to finish second to seal it. Ben Barnicoat was left with a run to the flag, and an aggressive and impressive run it was too. A little bit of contact, a little bit of rubbing between Barnicoat and Rusinov kept us on the edge of our seats for the final half an hour. But it wasn't long before Barnicoat found their way through, not without Rusinov having a final say, but the Englishman would take the all-English crude Dallara away at the end, but not by enough to seal the title, because no one else was left in contention. It was a wiggle across the final curve for Barnicoat, and a salute to the team on the pit wall. They take the win here, 17 seconds further back down the road, as Jack Manchester and Harry Tinknell celebrated in the garage. It would be Roman Rusinov who would bring home the 26 car to the championship win, second on the road, first in the championship standings. There'd be smiles again for the Brits in the 45 to win the race.
A win for Thunderhead, but the title still goes to G-Drive Racing by Algarve, along with that LMP2 invite to Le Mans.
To the podium now, and it's back-to-back wins for Thunderhead Carlin, though it wasn't enough to crown them champions. Brickware Racing happy to make their LMP2 AM title official with another finish. In LMP3, it's all smiles for Ace 1 Villoba Corsa as they take a first win. And Hub Auto Corsa get the deserved trophy in GT after fending off all their rivals.
What a finish. So the wrap-up of 4 hours of Buriram marks the end of this season, 2019-2020 season. And what an electrifying season it has been. A lot of firsts for us. Started off in Shanghai, and then we had our first trip to Australia, and then the first night race in Sepang, and then our first finale here in Buriram, Thailand. So all this won't be made possible if not for the great efforts from the participating teams, our partners, and everybody who has contributed. So thank you so much. And of course, not forgetting each and every one of you who has been with us throughout the entire season. So thank you very much for sticking around. I'm Nadia Nash, signing off. Thank you for watching.